Welcome to Actually Controller, the podcast that is actually Controller, and we are actually in control of everything you are hearing right now. I'm so very sorry.
All right.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to Actually Controller. You got Steve,
Chris,
Chad,
Jeffrey,
and Bob.
the
Hi,
whole
everyone.
shebang.
You got all five of us.
Hi.
we're gonna sit here. We're gonna talk your ear off and have no point to any of it at all.
I mean,
we have a
kinda.
We have a topic. That's
Today.
next episode.
Hell, we need topic ideas.
Yeah.
So the topic is.
So this week,
The
You
proper
don't want
ways.
me to say the topic?
no, I don't want you to say the topic.
The topic is our proper outlooks on how you should invest your money
Wow, I didn't
in
know.
Controller
Anti-crypto.
in our Patreon.
Through Patreon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Patreon,
I mean,
subscribe.
that would be a really good investment for your portfolios to invest in Controller via our Patreon.
Yeah.
At the top of the episode, we're going to kind of do this for at least a little while until everybody gets comfortable with it.
Familiar.
Remember, if you're listening to audio only through Spotify, iTunes, all the standard places, old episodes do drop off from our distributor little by little. So if you're wanting to listen back on old episodes, either go to our Patreon, where all of them are at in video form, or you can also go to our Facebook page and search videos, or to our YouTube channel, where we have an entire playlist devoted to nothing but those.
What?
So,
When did that happen?
yep. So that is where all the old episodes are at if you are interested.
It's fine.
Yep.
You were looking at me because I was like trying to figure out what was going. I had like a buzz going on in my ear.
And
Were you tugging on your cable?
Yes, I was. So I had to
Is it
move
all better?
Not really.
If you
I think
tug-
it's still like half under.
Just
my
remember,
right
if you
butt
tug it too
cheek,
much,
so.
it'll go blind.
So today's
It's like when I
episode.
turn my head this way, there it is.
No.
It goes out.
Well, hey, check it out. I have this great idea.
It's all right. I
No,
didn't
no.
hear any of that.
No.
Hold on. No, I'm still not hearing it.
You're doing that by choice.
The selective hearing of Controller. So,
I'm not hearing
The
you.
smooth
Yeah.
sounds.
so we were going over all different album artwork concepts for the next upcoming EP, and kind of selecting which ones for the main template we were all in preference of. And
We're doing that. one.
the topic of how influential is album art to you, as far as that being something that might persuade you to check out a band for the first time. How big of a deal is that anymore? Because I know way back in the day when I would go into Nickel, Best Buy, something like that, to just hunt for
Tower
CDs. Yeah,
Records and
Liner
FYE,
notes.
damn goody. But I would go in, and that was a good way of me kind of just hunting down new bands, because, well, you didn't have, Facebook or even MySpace there for a while
Oh, he said the MySpace.
to find all these new bands. So that was kind of your...
You're
There
a
was
new band.
There was no mobile internet. You couldn't stand in the store and like scan a QR code and learn everything you wanted to learn. You had to actually either know it or
just take a gamble.
yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times back in the day, at least for me, artwork used to kind of be that first,
Ooh,
step
this
to
cover
gambling.
looks grungy. I'm going to try these guys out.
Yeah. That and labels,
Yeah. And
what
if-
label they were on.
Yep. And then, if you recognize some of the producers and stuff that might be listed on the back cover.
Yep. But artwork was usually that first thing that would catch my eye to like give this possible CD
So
a chance.
I'll start. When you'd first thrown this topic out, I talked about something that was happening in the 90s. Columbia House and BMG
Yes.
had the 12 CDs for the price of one.
Yep. Yeah.
And a lot of times they weren't really the headlining bands that you know, and they were like breakout bands. And so with my 96K dial-up or whatever it was back then, I would get on the BMG website and I would sample songs based on their album cover. I was like, man, these guys look like they could be rock or hard grunge or just a genre that I'm interested in. And that would literally be how I chose my 7 or 8 free ones, because after I chose the 3 that I actually knew, most of them were nobodies. So that's how I got hooked onto Oander. I think they were mentioned on a podcast prior to.
Yeah, the one-hit wonder one.
Goodness, if I had known this was going to be our topic, I could have thrown out a whole bunch of Lifer.
Yes,
you guys know.
I got
who
that CD upstairs.
Nice, Breaking Benjamin. You guys know Breaking Benjamin. So Ben was in a band called Lifer that actually recorded, signed, was ready to
Didn't they
break out
win
to the
some
big thing.
contest or something? That's how they got
I don't know.
like the record made in the first place.
I like to say that's why he's called Breaking Benjamin, because he broke that band up.
Yeah, he did.
But so I bought the album or
That's
CD
messed up.
based on the cover. I was like, that looks cool. Sampled a few
yeah, the
things.
barcode
It is
look.
kinda funny, though.
Yeah, the blue barcode look.
Yep.
Is what happened.
Yep. So that was definitely, like I said, when internet wasn't mobile, you couldn't stand in a store. And FYE, as you mentioned, they
Steve,
didn't really
stop
have the
touching me,
listening
dude.
kiosks. And when they did and they broke, there wasn't an easy fix. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was that and like the font. I was big on looking at the font that it was written in, like the title of the album. You could tell if
We're
it
gonna have
was
to separate you two.
cool. Yeah,
He can
apparently.
scooch. I
We're
can't.
trying to have a podcast, and Bob's flirting with Steve. Y'all
Yeah.
should see it.
So Bob
Subscribe to
apparently
Patreon if
wasn't
you can.
good enough with just you give him a good poking
I know.
earlier.
But yeah, I'd say that the font.
I'm gonna tell Mom.
All right,
The
all right,
font
good
was
one.
something that drew me in. I also, when it came to artwork, it depended too. Like bands like Iron Maiden, they really had like a overall look. That
They had
Megadeth?
their artwork, no matter which album, always
It
has
Megadeth comes
Oh,
to
that
mind.
look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
Megadeth.
over the
Way.
top.
Yeah.
With
Always.
that, he's got a name too, the skull guy.
I think it's Eddie.
Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that, you instantly know it's Megadeth. Like it's
Yeah.
a visualization. And sometimes like bands they'd have themselves on the cover, and that would kind of be an indication as well. But
Yeah.
How their attire looks. And
Yeah.
Mhm. Or on the back cover at least.
Yeah,
They're
usually the back
aesthetic.
cover right by all the song titles is where it's the band photo.
Yeah, and it's like
that was the one from the photo shoot that took 3
four
hours,
skinny guys with long hair. One of them's in a vest,
and they're all wearing leather, and at least one of them has a whole bunch
Are you
of
guys
studs.
referring to your 10-year,
Yeah.
11-year picture that was shared?
No,
I
we
like
were
how I
in-
got tagged in this. We were a band. I'm like, okay,
you know what? We
I
were.
appreciate you.
We
I
were.
appreciate.
But I
ya.
didn't even know you guys then.
Yeah, it's true. That's
No,
true.
you did not.
So,
It was a couple of years after we got started.
Had that been your album cover, I probably would have considered buying it.
No,
oh,
No, I'm
Be
just
like-
saying, like
he's
you
like,
guys-
they're grunge.
You guys looked like you're grungy. You were like rock, and the look looked like it was a live show. And I don't even remember the stage.
It was
but,
like a tent.
you know.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
what she
one-off
said.
festival.
yep.
Never
Yeah.
happened
So here you
before.
go,
Never
the live
happened
shot.
after.
It was supposed to be an annual thing, but they forgot to do it the next year.
Yeah,
Yep.
we played the first annual and
What would you call it? Like
then
every
it
other
didn't
year?
happen.
Yeah.
Biannual.
Biannual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if they did
What's your
do it the next year, but they did a
Biannual? I
year?
thought biannual means like
Biannual.
twice a year.
Yeah, that.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
Or is
right.
that
Yeah.
semi-annual?
No, semi-annual would be the other way around.
no, semi-annual would.
I never get this right.
Ooh.
So
Anyway, album covers.
It's like half,
Yeah.
half every
I see
year.
We're
Steam
all
coming
like,
out of Steve's
yeah, all of
ears.
us are. Ow, ow.
I was just sitting here letting it happen.
we're gonna have
Yeah,
a
you were
little
playing a
research,
game.
and that's
Yeah.
what our next
Doing the Bob
podcast
thing.
is going to
It's
be.
Is that
Yep,
what
doing
it
the-
is? What is biannual?
Is it biannual
really?
or semi-annual?
Yeah, leave it in the comments. Which one was happens every other year?
Every other year. Biannual.
So
That
I
would
think
be
it's semi-annual,
bi-
but
Is it biannual though?
biannual. I don't know. but
I want no.
Okay, so when Fort Wayne hit its 200 years of being
Bicentennial.
it was a bicentennial year.
Because it's the 2 centennial.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean every other centennial.
that's
That's
two.
what. It's exactly
So,
what that means.
semi-annual, I think, is
Let's final answer. We're going to say
Yeah.
semi-annual.
Semi-annual.
I'm just throwing out.
either way. That happened once.
Either way,
Yeah.
insert Jeopardy theme here.
We,
So is a
It's happening.
semi-truck
All right,
then
anyway.
actually like twice a truck?
Yeah,
or
it's
half
twice a truck.
So we were talking about album covers
It's twice a
and
truck.
how I would buy your album cover if that was your album cover.
Oh right, yeah.
There we go.
That's
All right, we're
awesome.
back
That's
on
what we're
track.
talking about.
Yay! Thanks, bud. So
Good job.
I'm sober right now, so
yeah. So my
Oh, that's good
um,
for you
That's the
guys.
sad part.
Jeez.
but for
Mark
me,
record
it's
the
more one of
charge.
those. I was curious if artwork now in the day and age where a lot of it's little tiny thumbnails for Spotify and for Apple and all that stuff. If when you're on the find page or the explore page, if those little thumbnails do or don't jump out to you the way that the old CD ones did, or if they're too small, that it doesn't mean anything,
I will
and
say
you're only looking for bands you know.
At a level, like I don't get that anymore because again, it's 2023. You can sample without any album art, but it does become like a visual, like marketing memorization. Like we were listening to a band on the porch before we got down here for the podcast, and I didn't know what I wanted to listen to. So when I found the album cover, and I don't even know the name of the album. That's what's crazy. I don't know the name of the album.
Right.
I was like, oh, I like this band. I want to listen to this album. So I started streaming it. So it does become a visual representation, but
You have association with
yeah.
it.
So it's a good word, association. So it's
I think it depends on the band.
like I can
too.
picture some album, like we all know some of the classic ones like Pink Floyd. We already
Yeah.
mentioned Megadeth, some of those bands, but like some of the bands that I listen to, I can picture Chimera right now. I can
Or-
picture the Slipknot cover.
or like their iconography.
Like,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I've
Well,
got,
like you were bringing up Iron
I
Maiden.
can see several of the Korn album
Yeah.
arts.
Yeah, you might not remember the album title itself, but you're like, I know that's Korn. I know it has this feel, and you've listened to it enough. The thing we got away from is I can't speak for everybody, but there's probably not a lot of people nowadays that listen to a whole album from front to back repetitively. They might listen. So we have an EP coming out.
Yep.
And this is the reason why we're talking about album artwork. So after you listen to the first time, you may pick a song or two that you love, and then those are the ones you listen to all the time because
Yeah.
we're in a mass consumption kind of
Yes.
environment now. So
It's kind of made the point of an album pointless.
yeah. So
Instead of
But
setting up a
beforehand-
mixtape, you're setting up your playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
beforehand, you would buy an album cover, you would read through it, you'd listen to it, you'd listen to it again and again and again, and eventually you got to the point where you can time the in-between tracks and you knew what song was coming next based on the ending of the song before. Like this happens to me all the time with with my tribute band, where we'd finish a song and my brain would instantly go, this is the next song. Nope, that's not the next song.
Yeah.
Our set
Yeah,
list
because
is
you
the
have
next
it
song.
off of
Album,
listening.
but
Yes.
we're not playing that. So
Yep.
but I'm getting away from the artwork, but it does become a visual representation.
I don't know how much it
Association.
matters as much now as it did before, though, and that's where we were kind of going with it.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, I don't know. It's not like I'm putting as much investment in it as I used to. Obviously, like a FYE or anything like that, to just all together find a new band and hope that they were good. But I will say that in the recommended page, every once in a while, I'm just bored with all my normal bands I listen to, and the recommended page, I'll look and
You're bored with Contrøller?
yes.
That happened.
Our new
Obviously.
material needs to hurry up and get here. I'm really bored with everything we've done. But there's a lot of different bands that will pop up on the recommended that I've never heard of before, and I'll still use some of their artwork to a degree to go, well, maybe I'll give that one a try. I might only listen, like you were saying, we're in mass consumption stage, so I don't have to actually... I'll still click on a band that I've never heard of before off the recommended if their artwork looked intriguing, and I'll at least I'll look for, that was their top played song. I'll at least give it, good 15, 20, 30 seconds or something like that to at least see, was that a good pick? But the artwork still, at least for me to a degree, kind of can persuade me to click on some band I've never heard of.
You know what's
if it's
weird
at least in the recommended.
anymore is like as I'm watching videos, because I'm watching like documentaries and like little like news docs like on like the internet quite a bit. I'll go down into and find out what said song was if it sticks out.
So you both have kind of tied right into what I was going to say. So honestly, I think it comes down to how do you consume media.
Mhm.
So with his background in being like the guy that puts together the album art and does all that stuff, you are a visual person. You do like watching videos. Like
Yeah.
I don't have time to sit and like go down a YouTube rabbit hole.
hole.
My way of identifying new music is I will pick a band and I will mention Bad Omens,
Mhm.
who is newer, and then I'll choose my streaming device
Mhm.
and choose their station, and then let the algorithm pick similar bands. So I'm not getting into album art. I'm
Mhm.
just listening randomly to bands that are being selected based on that style. So
Yeah.
it does kind of come down to how do you want to consume your art.
Right.
Well, and I think also with the algorithm one, I'm sure that there's been times where a band will pop up audibly where you're like, oh, that sounds really good. And you'll grab your phone real quick to look, and then that artwork will associate at least for you
So there's a visual
later.
association. Yep. But back in the day, you know, when you would go to Wood Nickel or you would local record shop, when you go to your local record shop or FYE or whatever, you could sit there and look at liner notes, and you'd get a little background of the band and decide what's going on. Again, association with their record label or the producer or the director, sometimes the singer-songwriters, whatever is accessible, you know, without actually opening the...
Right, and those things used to matter a lot more because they were designators for what you were getting into. So,
like, you knew if Ross Robinson was attached to it, most likely what sound you were going to be getting out of it.
Yeah, you weren't going to be getting like something that was just phoned in.
You weren't getting a country album,
right?
So as far as artwork goes for me, you don't necessarily want simplicity, but it's nice when you see the ones that are just left field. It's something new, because that's rare now. There's so much artwork that has actually kind of been rehashed that it's rare to see something.
Yeah.
That's,
so like the live shot of the band, or they're in some dark alley and like it's a 4-piece or 5-piece, and
the warehouse shot.
And one's
they're all
looking in the
skinny
sky,
like string
and, like,
beans.
It's like
the other one's realizing he didn't tie his shoes.
Yeah,
you know, like
the warehouse shot.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
Abandoned Warehouse,
the South Park Christian rock band.
Yes.
shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I honestly, I look for,
I don't
if
know,
I'm
pop
going to be
culture.
impressed by artwork, I need to see something new. And music's been around for a while. It's hard to do something new.
Same with like, new to one person is not new to another, so
True.
it's subjective.
So it does depend on how you absorb your media. And the other thing is, confession, when we had a podcast 10 weeks ago, it's been a while, we had talked about your previous choice in artwork and other albums that you guys have released prior to me. Like, you guys take into consideration color, you guys are taking consideration font, you mentioned font. Like, these are things that I think those closest to the camp and like super fans would actually enjoy, but the casual listeners like, ooh, the Barcode album, that's a good CD. I like that, or whatever, or the band that has the blood dripping off the whatever.
Yeah, I like the one
You know
that
what I mean?
looks like it has like a rib cage on the front.
Yeah.
But that's not at all what that is.
Yeah, I mean, no, I completely agree that most of the time it's your super fan that's going to really delve in and look for the details and the nuances. However, I think at least with the color, the big thing that I've always pushed for is just because we have put so many releases out, it at least makes it a lot quicker of the Brown album, the Orange album, the Black album. All of those are a lot easier. So if you don't remember the name, you don't remember what the artwork looked like, at least if there's a color palette.
That
That's
goes
why I
even
like
deeper.
Weezer.
So,
Yeah.
Funny story, when my oldest
Weezer's
was
good.
like, when he was like 3,
Blue album, green album.
the band Nickelback had
What the hell is
come out.
Pinkerton? That don't make sense.
Nickelback had released Silver Side Up or whatever, but the album itself was blue and it had like a blue disc. And he was like 3 or 4 when it came out, and he always remembered it as the blue album, the blue CD. I want to listen to the blue CD. He really liked listening to it, and that's how he identified it. And then he identified Drowning Pool by their cover. So at that level, his absorption was listening and then associating it with the album cover, and that's what he wanted to listen to. He had no idea who the bands were. He had no idea what the song title was. He just knew what he enjoyed listening to and associated that with the CD. So, yes, I listened to Silver Side Up 1,000 times. I listened to Sinner 1,000 times.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the album, it's just association, man. I don't know.
So, Chad?
Yeah, I've got nothing on this topic.
Yeah,
Come on, bud.
Same.
Oh, seriously, no.
I do know you have an association of like interest towards artwork. At
I
least
do.
For us.
I do like looking at our album artwork. You do a fantastic job.
Hey, thanks, bud.
And
Wasn't looking for a compliment, but I appreciate it.
Don't let him lie to you. He's been fishing for a compliment the whole time.
Episode.
he's like a
job, Steve.
Chad will thank
I'm
me.
just casting out here. I'm like, come
Steve,
on, bite.
If we
Bite.
don't do this, Steve actually hits us. So
I mean,
we
they-
have
there
to.
are album covers that
he threatened to hit me. Not even like fight. I'm still flinching. It's
Good.
I mean, you were asking for it.
Yeah.
There are album covers that I will look at and I'm like, oh, that's really cool album art. But I've never used it as a means of deciding on whether or not that's what I'm going to purchase.
Even back in the day.
Even back in the day. Because most of my music, I actually got introduced. Like always, I'm always the guy that got introduced to music. So-
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I've brought so many.
I wasn't one to go to a record store or a music store and just sit and go through random artists.
Right. Well,
So-
I mean, for 20 years, I pretty much, hey, have you heard these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much
How's it going?
And then, like, lately, running TikTok and being on TikTok, I have found artists on there that I'm like, hey, I kind of like some of their stuff. I'll start.
Right.
I thought it
I'll
was
start
probably a
following
good
them,
idea
and
move.
then
You're probably gonna get hit.
So the other
Probably.
side of this then is we are musicians and we use it as part of our, I guess, our craft. Like I know when I came over and did some things with Steve, it's been about a year. We were talking about music and stuff, and you were like, "Have you heard of these guys? Have you heard of these guys?" But you're introducing me to bands that you associate Contrøller with, or you have memories with, or Carnival, like
Yep.
bands you would love to work with,
Or that we work with some of their personnel already.
Exactly. Yeah. So this topic for us is a little different. So you guys definitely have to weigh in. Like how does album artwork affect your decision? Because for us, like we do look at things like that on album artwork as inspiration for what we're doing, trying to help us decide what direction we're going with music.
And also, like, for me, from art development standpoint, I always try to run that happy balance where, yes, with the first album,
oh no,
with the first album, it was kind of a go for broke. Every clip art piece and everything. It was a very, very busy piece of art.
Yeah, I liked it.
the cover,
Yeah.
but it was a very
Lots of hidden things.
Chris,
Yes.
what was
It was
missing
fun.
there was the.
See, and as long I think
That's all right.
with art,
what she
it
said.
really is for Contrøller. I really like that we do try to hide so many things just in the
we do,
open.
but it like the part though that I've like leaned more towards is not having so many elements though
Oh,
as
no.
time's gone on.
No,
like
it's
with the EOH EP,
refined it into individual ideas for sure, but it's still always like this fun little Easter egg hunt.
So,
that
yes.
you can
So what
do.
gets trickier is you look at album covers, again 20, 30 years ago that was your deciding factor.
Mhm.
You pick one and then you open it up, and then there are usually more Easter eggs and more things to discover inside.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
Alter Bridge for me, when they first came out, I ended up buying their debut album, and after you open it up, on their disc they have www, and I can't say it because it's Alter Bridge spelled backwards.
Mhm.
www.alterbridgespelledbackwards.com.
Mhm.
If you look it up, it was originally designed for them to give you like a back door into like touring and like behind the scenes stuff.
Yep.
And there's literally a 3-minute clip of them on the tour bus heading out and just talking.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything with that, sadly, but
Yeah. That was
you
pretty
wouldn't
cool.
have seen that if you wouldn't have bought the album,
Right.
Because it was on the inside versus the outside. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and if you have some fun ways of connecting with your audience, that
I mean,
way. There was
Tool
a
always
couple-
had some like really fun CD cases.
There was always a couple that they were. What was the band I was thinking of right before then? Dang it. Oh, Incubus Science.
What
If
are
you
you-
flipped
what are you
that
looking at me for?
CD,
I'm just
into
letting you
your
know that you might get
computer,
blood on you.
It would bring you to this whole art page, and
It'll
it would
splatter that way.
break down
Oh, that's really
all this
cool.
crazy fun stuff from the actual vocals of the album itself that attached to it. Yeah,
Jeff,
but yeah, that's pretty cool.
get your boy.
I don't know. I was talking to you guys, so
I was trying to listen.
that's cool.
I was listening.
I heard the Incubus Science album, and I
Which is, in my
enjoyed that
opinion,
album.
their best album.
Yeah, it was really cool to be able to just plug it into your computer and then get all that stuff. It was
Mhm.
neat.
Oh, yeah, there was a couple CDs that would do that.
Yeah.
You get CD-ROM.
Well, and it was
yeah,
like,
you're
it was
enhanced CD.
Yes.
It was neat because
You
it
get
was
some
like
video
all
and
of
stuff?
the words of the album. They took like and did cuts of it, and there was a game like a ROM on there that also pertained to like the artwork on the outside of the album. Like you had to
Okay.
go look at the album to get through the game as well as know the
who
words.
else?
It was like a whole
They
ARC
realized there were a couple
thing.
people that did
That
that.
was cool.
I think Korn had a game
Yeah.
Mhm.
too, but there was one band in particular that had like a really in-depth one. I'm trying to remember who that was.
Was it Disturbed?
Disturbed had a game, but
Yeah.
no, this one was like
I would love to have a game on
multi-level,
our album.
and you had
Oh.
to like.
No, that
If
was
you
Red
could
Hot
help
Chili
us, that'd be
Peppers.
great.
Was that Chili Peppers?
Chili Peppers went nuts on some of their stuff. Like any way they could branch out, and they did great with it.
What's besides some of the like I said, like the Pink Floyds? You already mentioned Incubus. What album art just kind of sticks out to you? Like if you think of a band and like
All right, the
Like the artwork quintessentially was
Just,
the thing.
Yeah, just like it caught your attention, or you.
The
you
way
remember
Tool did, well, I think it was Onima's CD case. It had that special plastic
Oh,
on
is
it
it the
where
one that
you
had the-
slide the book
eye?
Yes.
in and out.
Yes.
And the eye just
Okay.
like rotates.
That's a good call.
Oh, that was such
Yeah, I
an
had the,
amazing idea. Yeah.
Like the
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
I'm scratching my hand.
yeah,
here,
the,
going,
the scratchy one.
like like a
The
holographic
corduroy
thing.
type. It's like a corduroy cover.
The corduroy cover.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
It was a plastic corduroy.
So really,
I mean,
can.
your boy just showed me a little
My
couple
kid.
month ago about a Tool CD that he had that's got a little TV screen.
Yeah, the Fear Inoculum one,
Yeah.
the limited edition, it actually came with a video and a song that's only on that video built into the case.
built into the
And
case.
it's a USB rechargeable.
Well, that's fun.
So you literally open the CD case and it has a little LCD screen in there.
You have to charge it up, and then you can watch something on it.
Yeah,
And it's
it
the
has
only
a,
place that you
That's
can
right.
watch it.
it has a pre-programmed video
And
with
it's the only
a-
place
Okay,
you can
so
watch
so
it.
sticking with our topic, is that something that you would have known looking at the album cover, or is that something
No.
discovered after you I want to buy
Well,
this because it's Tool?
you
open it up.
knew you didn't know like what of it was, but it did state on one of, because certain CDs have the sticker on the film and everything like that. The includes blah 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 for some limited edition thing. This one did state something to the effect of like limited edition music video and
So the
unreleased
cellophane
song.
had that, but the actual cover wouldn't have.
No.
wouldn't have. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of covers,
Tied together.
surprisingly, the person, in my opinion, that had like the coolest cover was Rob Zombie, only because when his first album came out, when he went solo,
Oh, the Hellbilly Deluxe
yeah.
one.
Do you remember that had like the felt or like a velvet cover, whatever that
Oh, no,
was?
I don't remember that one
That
at
there
all.
was it was a limited print, and when you bought it, it was just a cover that went over the actual case.
Okay.
but it was glow in the dark, so you could actually just it was so
So
cool.
speaking to CDs, I that was a thing when CDs were first. I don't want to say first, but when they were really booming, albums would be released, but the CD itself would have a sleeve,
Yeah.
much like vinyl. So you'd like I've got Nine Inch Nails Further Down to Spiral. It has
Yep.
a sleeve. I've lost the sleeve, but I still have the case and the CD.
Yeah, the
Right.
cardboard.
So, but it'd be like it'd literally be like a sleeve.
A
just like
dust
that.
sleeve.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what
Little
that was
dust
for
cover.
that.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so
It-
you're referring to something that was
Yeah,
similar to that?
it was like it glue in the dark, and like it was all neoned out, like the old
Yeah.
like glow, where it was obvious that it wasn't for. Yeah, but it was great.
Call out Non-Point's Miracle, their album cover. Looks like a decimated city, like going through war. And then when you open it up, the album cover actually opens up to like a folder, or a poster, not a folder. It unfolds into a poster, and it has like lyrics for all their songs and all those credits and everything. So you're looking at like a full-on like visual imagery of their.
We
album.
almost did that with our first album, but the print was just
Oh,
too
I
expensive.
imagine. I think they still had a label
Way to
behind
drop
when
the
they were-
ball, Steve. Couldn't figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah, that was all him.
Gotta
That was
gotta sell
all
some more
him.
nudes there, Bob.
Yep.
No one wants to see me naked.
Well, there you go. That's why the ball was dropped. The balls were dropped.
The ball.
The balls were dropped, hence
Yeah,
Nobody was buying.
Nobody was buying.
That's
They were like, there ain't nothing to see there, man.
The truth
So, Jeff.
has never been more real.
Chad and Bob kind of stated like a quintessential cover thing. What one was one for
It
you?
was like a cover that like grabbed my eye,
Like
and, said,
and is like still burning your mind of that is the piece type thing. Even if it's just for that band, not like it all together. Like
You know, it's weird because there was like a change in the sort of art that you would get in music right around like the new grunge era, where like you could walk into a record store and you would definitely see your metal guys, and they all of their fonts that look like sticks thrown on the ground,
yes,
and
Or in
like,
the ceiling,
or
if Chris
or
does it.
yeah, or like the pseudo monotone, like it looks like it was sprayed over in one color.
okay,
But there was like this new change of like art that was happening, like the alternative scene was like really starting to happen, and you started to see it conveyed in different sorts of art on music groups like Filter and
Okay.
whatnot, and like the way that the album cover itself became.
There's a cleaner stylizing.
Yeah, there was like a whole new like modicum of different types of art that started popping out. And actually, when I think about it, I think that back in that day, music was actually more of the vehicle for art than the other way around.
Yes.
And that's the weird interest now, is that it's so not anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's not,
you're just putting something because you are being told you have to upload art when releasing the song.
Yeah.
That whatever
But
art.
as far as like a one band that did it better than another, or like one that sticks out, I mean, like he brought up the Tool thing. I could bring up the Pink Floyd Pulse with their like light that was popping off. Anything to get people to look at your art longer, you know. I don't have one, but when that change happened,
that style, that arc time.
Yeah, that style like was the most noticeable time frame for music for me, and I would tie that to the art. Actually,
So this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, so for art consumption, it means something different for all of us, and for you two specifically, you really dive into like oh,
nuances.
This is Victorian metal, or you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, oh, that was cool. Look at all the blue and red. It's pretty.
I think they did shiny there.
Ooh, you know, Bob's always, oh, it's fuzzy, so fuzzy.
Don't judge me.
I'm just saying, like,
shiny?
so, like, when it comes to album
shiny?
covers, that's really what it is. It's aesthetic, visually pleasing.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry that I like the fuzzy,
Visually.
the fuzzy cover.
I
Because
like to feel the fuzzy.
Well, I mean, I just truly want to be held. That's
I
all
like
it
to
is.
listen with my eyes.
I think we all do it. This
Yeah.
I like to listen with
Bob
my
speaks
eyes.
for all of us. No, not together.
No, not
Don't
together.
even.
Well, Steve's leaning in. Careful.
It's
That's because I didn't piss him off.
No.
Yeah.
He's leaning into you.
That's what I said, because I didn't piss him
Yeah.
off.
So with me,
Is that legal? Is that-
So,
Yeah, it's
well,
fine.
Okay.
well, hold on. I'm just wondering if you're considering him leaning in as a good thing.
I saw the hashtag retake.
No, I used the P word.
Oh,
I wasn't sure. He said it was okay.
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 Is it okay? I don't know.
Yeah.
FCC's like, fuck you.
F to the
didn't do it. But
for me, I'm kind of with Jeff. It's almost like an era thing, because all of mine that I can think of, all were specifically at Borders when they were still here in town.
well,
Yeah,
it's
And-
a genre
like the
thing
end
too, and
cap
that's the thing that he was mentioning with the metal and the sticks being thrown. Like, it does come down to, like, when I was choosing things,
War Realms.
you could kind of tell. Like, you mentioned country. You can tell if it's a country album,
Yes.
or if it's a rock album, or a metal album, or jazz, and you knew, like, without seeing the display in the store, kind of where you were at based on that. So
Yes. Like with mine, when you were talking about the like limited edition with Anima and the limited edition with Rob Zombie, one that was a limited edition that really jumped out to me, even though it kind of ties into the whole sleeve cover where a lot of them used to do the cardboard, but the one that jumps out to me in my memory is the limited edition for White Pony. They did a black and a red release, two different limited editions, had two different unreleased songs for each copy. So you had your White Pony standard cut, you had your red cut, and you had your black cut, and the red cut and the black cut both had different songs. They had a plastic dust cover sleeve, though, that was meant to stay with it, not throw away, and all that type of stuff.
I had read some lore about System doing something similar with Steal This Album, to where they were recording and some of the recordings were leaked, and so in response to that, they released like 3 or 4 different album covers.
There was 4 different album
and it was
covers
called,
for
obviously
that.
the album's called Steal This Album, but they all included the same songs. There wasn't a mixture, but they did that on purpose because their album was already being released before they were leaked, before they were ready to release. Holy sh!
Nirvana did that.
It's okay.
with
You had a long day
Nevermind.
yesterday, bud.
Goodness.
Nirvana did that with Nevermind, actually. That first album.
The Pool album?
Yeah, the Pool album. Like, you could get it with there
With
was
the
like a
penis or
hidden, there was a hidden song, and then
Too
if
soon?
you got a
Are they still in litigation? Sorry.
No, it's not a litigation.
Sorry.
so but then there was another version of it that was
Which
like
isn't
an
that
aqua
stupid?
blue
Sorry.
plastic instead of a clear plastic.
Yep.
And it had a different 2 songs that were hidden at the end, and then there was another one that was the cocaine version that had like a white strip on the center, and you
Go
could
figure.
and you could rewind it
Awesome.
from the beginning, 420 seconds, and there was a song hidden at the beginning.
Oh wow.
Well, and then you have like Alice in Chains had Jars of Fly. They did a limited edition
Yeah.
one where they actually had a plastic fly that they put into the spine.
Into that, yeah.
So you
and
you
Love
start
it.
getting into limited editions, and nowadays you get into like foreign releases. So like
Yeah.
there are artists that'll release songs in the States, and then they'll add a track and release it somewhere else. Shinedown, for instance, they went on a acoustic tour that I absolutely loved. A song that they did, Zach and Brent did together, called "Never Gonna Let Go," and it was a beautiful, beautiful acoustic song. And then they did a full band version of it, which, in my opinion, sucks. But they didn't release it in the U.S. You have to buy a Japanese cut of the album to get the version. You can find it on digital platforms
Right.
now, but
Yeah.
to get a physical copy of it, you have to get a Japanese bootleg version of it.
Well, it's the same. Like, oh god, Mudvayne did that. Tons of bands, Slipknot, tons of bands did that, where you always had your Japanese release or your UK release or something like that that would do different things back in the day.
And
But
usually they would change their album work for that too. as
Yep.
well.
Yeah, like Nine Inch Nails was known for doing stuff like that too.
yeah, well, they had God. What was the
like, how
name of the
many
series?
Different Halos.
Yes, the Halo series.
How many different Halos? All of which were the same releases, but it was like
a different
point
remakes
version.
or yeah,
Like had a different person that did a specific song on it, or some of the artwork on it was done by a certain person.
we're good.
And a lot of the times they would have how to access it. Like if you had to rewind from the beginning of the album, like it would tell you.
yeah, the old school
somewhere.
hidden track situation.
Yeah.
Korn did,
Yeah,
later.
a lot of rewinding to get to
Yeah.
the first song.
Or you wait till the last track's done.
What
for
are
like
you doing? You're
18
trying to
minutes
touch
to get
it.
to another
Aw.
one.
That
That's what's happening.
that is really
The
like,
album's
ADHD
done.
is
Why is
knocking
it
in
still?
hard.
Why is this still going?
why do I have minutes of just dead silence?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Find it. Mhm.
oh yeah, the hidden track that's like 3 minutes after the last
Yep.
song.
Or the Marilyn Manson one where you have just 1 second tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freak on a Leash, or Follow the Leader. Sorry.
Yeah, Follow the Leader
Follow the
was
Leader.
silent
Yeah.
tracks up till track 13.
12 4-second tracks.
Yeah.
Yep, 48
Almost.
seconds. And there's a reason. I at one point I knew the reason. There's a reason that they did it. Much like selecting their artwork, they selected that for a reason. So
But
so you couldn't easily speed through it.
no, there was an actual legit reason.
No, they wanted to be jerks.
the only other art thing that I ever had that I remember is because way back I used to really be into Metallica when Reload came out. They were shipping copies of Load and Reload to the stores together, but they were putting them into a collector, like double CD cardboard box where one side had the Load cover, the other side had the Reload. But they weren't supposed to be selling the CDs that way. So the stores were supposed to get them, take the CDs out of that, and then throw the cardboard bit away. And I'm like, that has to be like, that's going to turn into a collector item or something like that. So my brain, I ended up getting really good friends with one of the employees that
Like, give
from
me a
going in
couple
over.
of
I'm
that,
like,
wait.
hey, can I get one of those? You're just throwing it away, right? They're like, I don't care.
Oh, okay.
And they just have like, yes.
Another call out for album art again with Shinedown. When they released Sound of Madness, they were a 5-piece band, and they released their initial release had 5 crows on the cover. It's a black cover with a white circle and 5 crows. Well, when Jason Todd was let go, and they became a 4-piece, and then Brad was let go, and Eric, whatever. They went from a 5-piece to a 4-piece. They quickly halted production on all of those album covers and went to a 4-crow cover. So if you have a Shinedown album, Sound of Madness, with 5 crows, that's probably a collector. Well, not today, but
Yeah.
will be
Later.
a collector.
Oh,
because
there's
it's
probably
very limited run.
there'll be a market for it somewhere.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, so I think we all kind of boiled down to like what you were pointing out. Art has a different level of impact
Yeah.
for everybody depending on how much you probably
Yeah.
do art.
Yeah, and how much you
How much
enjoy
do you-
it.
How much do you art?
Yeah.
That really determines how much you art.
I only listen to music
Art.
with my eyes.
All right, we're wrapping this up. Is that
Yeah, I
what
think we're wrapping this one up.
All
But
right.
all right,
Hey, thanks for checking us out. And again, like hit the like and the bell and subscribe. And I love your guts. Bye.
And comment.
yeah, please
Later.
comment later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Actually Controller. If you liked what you heard, please consider following us on all our socials. You can easily find us on all the different platforms by going to linktree/controller33 or scan the QR code if you are watching the video version of this episode. Thank you.